What's up, YouTube? In today's video, I'm talking about the Phoenix Suns and about what to expect from their offseason. DeAndre Ayton, is he gone? Sounds like it. Jay Crowder too? Let's talk about it. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment on the video what you think the Suns should or should not do in the offseason, and let's get on into it. All right, so right now we have JaVale McGee, Frank Kaminsky, Elfrid Payton, Bismack Biyombo. These guys are free agents. I don't know if any of them are like huge priorities. We will talk about the big priority right now, DeAndre Ayton. Ayton played a little bit better in some games, but not so great in other games. Like, he's good, and I think he has value in the league, but there's some disconnect with this relationship between the Suns organization and DeAndre Ayton. And I think it's now gotten to the point where they feel like they're good to let him go. For nothing? Maybe not, because I think that they'll try to get someone back for him in a sign and trade deal. But who is that player? And how much better does that make the Suns? So they have to figure out the DeAndre Ayton situation. Does he stay? Does he go? I anticipate that there may not be a suitor out there anymore for him. We watched Detroit go away. We've watched Indiana. Indiana could be a dark horse, but they still have Miles Turner. They're like wanting to hold on to him. So those two teams, along with like other teams that may have had cap space, the Knicks, like there's not really a team out there that I think that Aiden's going to land to. And I think this actually might result in him landing just with Phoenix again. So I project that he'll actually be back, even though that might be a little shocking. Let's talk about extension eligible players now. This is where it gets a little fun. Jay Crowder could potentially be on the move. We've heard that Miami is interested in Crowder and could potentially move him to Miami. And that would create a little bit of a hole for Phoenix, but obviously it depends on what they get in return, because that would have to be some sort of trade in order for the Heat to acquire Crowder. But they're anticipating they're going to lose PJ Tucker, and so Crowder and TJ Warren are going to be candidates for this team. Dario Saric, Cameron Payne, Torrey Craig, Cameron Johnson. They got to pay Cameron Johnson. So maybe is Phoenix okay with, removing Crowder from the mix because they already have kind of his replacement with Cam Johnson? He does come with up and downs. I don't think is the greatest defender ever, but I do think Cam Johnson is probably the replacement for Crowder next year, if a trade happens. But the biggest one, similar to LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers, Chris Paul, extension eligible. And let's pull up their cap sheet now. So Chris Paul now is extension eligible, and he is going to be this. He has two non-guaranteed dates. Let me pull this up because I think this is fun. So for the 2023-24 season, his guaranteed money drops from 30.8 to 15.8. So they save $15 million next year if they just don't want to have him. But that would have to happen after this season. It will be weird. It will be interesting to see what happens with Chris Paul, because I think that there's a way that they say maybe we don't want him. And maybe we hear talks. And $30 million is not a whole lot. Like we see Harden and like Durant, like they're getting into 40, maybe even $50 million. Like Jimmy Butler is in that mix too. Steph. Like 30 is not a lot. That's two role players. Two guys who are making $15 million. Is there a deal out there? Maybe. Is there a play where, I can't even imagine, but we'll see what happens there. Something to keep your eye on if you're a Lakers fan. Other, trade candidates obviously mentioned Paul, Cameron Payne as well. Like, he is due for an extension, so we'll see exactly what happens there. Dario Saric, and then I believe they actually re-signed Landry Shamet, so he actually is fine. So we don't need to worry about him. Offensively, I think this team can just be better. I think after Booker, it kind of drops off, and we can see that Booker sometimes can be taken out of games given the defensive game plan. So is there some more offense that they can find? A guy who I think would probably work here is a guy similar in the mold of like Tobias Harris. Maybe just a forward who doesn't need to be the primary guy, but can get buckets on his own if he needs to. And then defensively, I think they're solid enough right now that they don't necessarily need to get a guy who's great at defense, but maybe they do. Other than that, what do you think the Suns should do? Feel free to comment in the section below. Let me know. Is there a target? Somebody you want them to get? Somebody you want them to get rid of? Are you done with Aiden? I can't imagine that Suns fans would be, but maybe they are. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. Check out our other 30 videos that we're doing for all off-season previews for the NBA. And we'll see you in the next video.